Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody doing? Welcome into another edition of Titans and Truth. I'm your man Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we're gonna have a really good time this evening. I want to welcome everybody in. I'm gonna give y'all a few moments to get in, and we're gonna have a good show. So I'll give y'all a few moments, and we're gonna have a good old time. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. What's up, Marcus Mari Goda?
Tighten up. Tighten up. Tighten up. Tighten up. Tighten up. Tighten up. It's a brand new dance and we about to go live. Tighten up, Nashville, rep the 615. First you tighten two steps, step to the right. Then you tighten two steps, step to the left. Blue jerseys everywhere, game face, yeah we got it on. Sticking out our chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Countdown, it's about to get rough. Here come the train, y'all. Tennessee, tighten up. Tighten up, let's get tightened up. Tighten up, let's get tightened up. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Tighten two steps, step to the right. Do the tighten two steps, step to the left. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong.
Had to get a little bit of hype music going on right there. We definitely like to tighten up. That was a cool video. I like that video a lot, but glad everybody's in here. Alan, what's up with it, man? AZ Mick, as usual, what's going on? Make sure y'all spread this out to everybody. Let everybody know we live. Everything is on. And make sure that everybody see what's going on so that they can join in on the show too. See, I'm putting it out on Facebook, that we live. So make sure y'all spread that out to everybody. Let everybody know what's up. CW, what's going on? But we're gonna have a really good episode tonight. We're gonna basically talk NFL draft as I begin my 4-week. We're gonna begin our 4-week preview of the draft. We're gonna be talking different positions every week. So like tonight, we're gonna start with edge rushers. That's gonna be the first segment that we're gonna talk about. Of course, next week we're gonna be going into defensive linemen. We're going to be going into defensive linemen, and I may even squeeze in offensive linemen too. So I may go both, or I may just go one. So I think this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, edge rushers tonight, defensive linemen next week. The week after that, we'll probably talk offensive line. No, yeah, defensive line and offensive line next week. I'm sorry, y'all. So yeah, pass rushers this week, offensive defensive line next week, wide receiver, tight end the week after that, and then on the 24th, we're just gonna talk. Basically, I'm gonna do my one and only mock draft, like first round mock draft, and then we'll talk about a few dark horse picks, maybe a position that I didn't talk about. So that's something that we're going to be doing as well. And next, and probably tomorrow, I'm probably going to unveil my first Titan mock draft, my first 7-round mock draft. I'm probably going to do it through the Draft Network. So I will post that tomorrow. My first actual mock draft for the year, and I'll do a mock draft every week. So leading up to draft night, and also draft night if you're gonna be here in Nashville, Tennessee, I'm gonna put this out a couple of times. Y'all probably gonna get me sick and tired of hearing that. Come to Draft Night with the Sigmas. That is my fraternity. That is my fraternity, Blue Phi. And on that night is going to be April 25th. So it'll be the first round that Thursday night from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. We're going to be at the Nashville Urban Winery at 715 Main Street here in Nashville, Tennessee. So it's not very far from the stadium. It's a little bit away from all the craziness that's going to be happening downtown. It's going to be gridlocked. So if you don't want to be in all that riffraff downtown but still want to enjoy the draft, come join me and my fraternity brothers. Tickets are going fast. They're $20 now. $20 now, $30 on the day of the event. And what that ticket will include, it will include food while supplies last. So we're going to have a lot of good food set up for you. Also, there'll be an open bar. We're going to have a DJ popping up some music. I'm trying to work on getting a guest to join me on the show for a little bit. So stay tuned for that. If I can get a guest, I'm working on that. Definitely trying to get a good guest for that. So Joseph, what's up? Yeah, you definitely talk to me, and I'm going to address your question. Absolutely. CW's got some questions for me, so we're definitely going to pop in to pick my brain a little bit later. So I guarantee you we're definitely going to talk about that. And then later on, I'm going to introduce a new segment. Yeah, I've heard me with, I used to have Mika's Moment with my homegirl, Miss Truth Hurts, Wembley. Hopefully she'll be in on that Thursday night of the draft. Maybe I'll have her pop in with me. I don't know if she's coming in for that. But we also had the Blue Bombshell. This is something that I'm probably going to do every last Wednesday of the month. But since I did not do a show last week, I'm going to pop this in. I'm going to pop this in this week. So expect this every last. And so, that's basically just stuff that I see, that's going on that just really irritates me, or as in Peter Griffin's words, grinds his gears. And that's something that I'm definitely going to talk about later on. And y'all know some obvious stuff that's going on that we'll get into a little bit later. And I have three big time moments. I have three big time things that have been talked about over the last week that I just want to tell somebody, shut your pie hole. So that's something that we're going to definitely get into later on in the show. But let's go ahead and get started. First off, I didn't get to talk about this previously. Of course, the owners' meetings happened last week. They have now made pass interference reviewable. So I never gave my take on this. I think it's a good idea, because we've seen too many times where the Titans have gotten screwed on pass interference calls that should not have been called. And so now those plays can be reviewable, whether the refs called a pass interference, or if Mike Vrabel thinks there should have been a pass interference called and there wasn't. So, the thing about that is it makes that reviewable. I know some people think that it may make the game longer. It will not, because you still have the same two challenges. No challenges can be done inside of 2 minutes, and only that can come from the booth. Now, the booth could be calling down saying, hey, we need to review this play. That could happen too, but I like the fact that they're doing that. And of course, all of this stems back to of course, the NFC Championship game with New Orleans and the Rams, that call basically sending the Rams to the Super Bowl. That's where it all started. So, I think it's a good rule. Definitely give it a try, see if that's something that can work. What I'm hoping doesn't happen, is that it ends up, as some people have said, opening Pandora's box, and now all of a sudden you want to challenge roughing the passer calls, or challenge holding calls and things like that. So That's something that the NFL is going to have to watch out for, because this could open up a whole brand new can of worms. So they got to really be careful with that particular call. But again, I like it. I think it's something that they can definitely try with that. So definitely cool with that. Also, definitely got to give some congratulations to Lipscomb, to the Lipscomb Bisons. They are playing in the NIT right now. They are in the NIT championship game tomorrow night against the Texas Longhorns. So congratulations to Casey Alexander and that team there. I know he's getting some calls for head coaching jobs, and I'm not really going to go into college basketball that much, but I mean, I know with college basketball going on, it's a pretty big time. And also, of course, the Final Four set with Auburn, Michigan State, Virginia, and oh goodness, I forgot the other team that advanced in as well. It just slipped my mind. Probably doesn't even matter, really, to be perfectly honest on that one. But I forgot the Final Four. Texas Tech. That's who it is. My bracket's busted, so I don't have a dog in the fight anymore. But definitely Marcus Mariota, hold that thought on what you were commenting on. Believe me, hold that thought. We're going to talk about that, I guarantee you. So definitely always glad that it's good that they have that put in there as far as pass interference. I see Marcus Mariota said, I'm a little concerned on how it affects the Hail Mary at the end of the game. I don't think it affects the Hail Mary that much, because we know that's a bang play as far as, hey, it's either going to be picked off or somebody's going to knock it down maybe at the end of the game, maybe at the end of the half, maybe, because by then the rest are going to want to have that game over with and get out of there. So I don't think it affects that much, but I think it affects if it's a big 30, 40-yard pass downfield and, it's a spot foul, and let's just say you're at the 50-yard line and the pass interference call gets done, down in the red zone. So now pass interference, instead of it being, a 10 or 15-yard penalty coming to the 35, it's a spot foul. Now you're down at the 5-yard line, first down. That's basically a 45-yard penalty. So, you got to take a look at stuff like that. So that's why something like this has been implemented. And I'm not an expert on rules or on the competition committee. I'm just saying I think it's a pretty good thing. And I mean, it was voted 31-1 with the Cincinnati Bengals owner being the only one that objected to this. So that Jason Garrett and Sean Payton led this up. And, I'm going to mention this. This is a shut your pie hole moment. I'm going to go ahead and get one out the way already. Now, this has nothing indicative of the other ones that I'm going to talk about, but I heard this happening on a national show. I think it was somebody out in L.A. On Fox Sports was basically talking about this, and he basically just went in and basically said, you know what? This rule shouldn't have happened and things like that. And this was just to satisfy the whining, crying people in New Orleans. Basically, Sean Payton. So this particular broadcaster was basically throwing shade at the New Orleans Saints fans and Sean Payton, saying that this rule shouldn't have happened, because basically saying, well, y'all were being biased towards the Rams. And I can understand how Rams fans be like, why y'all crying for? You lost the game. You still had a chance to win. It's the principle of it all. That was an egregious call that was missed. The fact of the matter is that was a blatant pass interference call. Now, that'd be different if they're battling for the football and Roby Coleman is seriously looking back at the football and that type of play happens. Then maybe I can see where there's a bang, bang, no call. But it was blatant from the beginning. And I'm not, advocating for New Orleans because I'm not a New Orleans Saints fan. However, I'm just saying in fairness, to that, New Orleans has a serious gripe, very much so. So, I mean, could that have just resulted in this rule? Maybe not necessarily all of it, but I think they went through the whole body of work of everything as far as a lot of plays throughout the year. But this particular play kind of just was the icing on the cake, and it pretty much got it passed. So, like I said, again, I'm not an expert on rules or anything like that, but it's a good thing that this passed. I see CW saying one penalty last year will not forget ever. One penalty last year I will not forget ever is when they called Walker for holding in the Dolphin game when his face mask was being held. Pathetic call. Pathetic that flag cost him the game. Now, I agree with that. And that's why I said the NFL better be careful because this can open up a whole brand new can of worms. Now, that was a blatant missed call. I don't know why they called that holding on Delaney Walker when he wasn't holding anybody, and that cost us a Derrick Henry touchdown, which definitely could have cost us the game. Pretty much may have cost us the game. So, yeah, you have in every game, there's that one penalty that turns the game. And that one was one. But yeah, I kind of like what the rule committee's doing with that and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. And I'm not going to harp too much on that. Also, there was talk about Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota has been back home in Hawaii, resting, healing, getting himself ready. And definitely want to give kudos to Amy Wells of Tennessee Titans Online. She actually was out in Hawaii last week during Marcus Mariota's charity golf event that he did for underprivileged kids. Definitely try to help some of them maybe go to private schools out there in Hawaii. And he even was doing it for kids in Oregon and kids here as well. One thing I got out of the interview was that Marcus seemed very anxious to get back here. He's anxious to get back and get started with the OTA program. Basically that the doctors have been telling him to just heal. Don't do anything just yet. Just let it heal. Just rest and get yourself ready for this upcoming season. And, I like the fact that Marcus is eager. He's ready. He wants to come back. He wants to prove the doubters wrong. And I hope he gets that opportunity to do that and everything with that. So I definitely like Marcus's demeanor. Now, I don't think that's something that anybody will disagree with. What's up, Rizzo? What's going on? Jamie Holloway, hello. I think Marcus is, he seems re-energized. He seems ready to go. And I like that. He's just ready to put last year behind him. And, he knows what type of season this is. He knows that it's all or nothing now with everything that's going on. He has to earn that next contract. It's either earn the money or you're out, plain and simple. And that's something that he better do. So I really liked his demeanor. I liked what he had to say. And he seems ready to me. I think he's definitely ready. I know I've said my confidence in Marcus is shaken, and it is, but I still believe. And I know there's a lot of people out there. Like, and I ain't gonna, I'm not trying to call nobody out. I know my homie Chris Frazier is definitely not a fan, and he thinks that Marcus is trash. I know he probably thinks we need another quarterback. He's not that good. And I'm going to say this, Chris, he does a lot of footage under Titans Fans for Life, and I respect his opinion, and I respect some of the footage that he uncovers. I just disagree with him, and I think we can all agree to disagree. Oh, sorry about that. I had to switch it around a little bit, but he looks rejuvenated. I think he's ready. And we're definitely going to find out what he is. I know he's chomping at the bit. Yeah, CW's right. Mariota looks refreshed and chomping at the bit to have a good year. Like him, wish he can have a healthy year and have a 30-touchdown year, around 10 interceptions. I hope so, too, because I think Mike Vrabel has said it. Amy Adams Strunk has said it. They want him to be the quarterback. They want him to succeed. And, you hear it a lot. When he's healthy, he's the guy. But that's the thing. He has got to stay healthy. He has got to stay healthy. And I've been hearing it a lot, the expectations and everything for him. My expectation for him is play 15 games and let that last game be that we're already in the playoffs. He can rest up for the playoffs. I want 15 games. I want 15 games at least. And, that last game, he doesn't get hurt. I want 15 games. I want 30 touchdowns. And I want, like CW said, about 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I like that. I would say that would be the ceiling. The floor, I would say 25-12. That's what I would say is the floor for Marcus Mariota. Definitely. So I like that piece. I liked how that is. Delaney Walker seems to be motivated. He wants to prove everybody wrong with the injury. I know a lot of people are saying that they should draft tight ends in the first round, and that's something I'm going to get to later. But Delaney Walker saying, hey, he's using that injury as motivation. He's ready to come back and raring to go. So I definitely like the outlook of this team. I think a lot of these guys are just chomping at the bit to do better than 9-7. Mike Vrabel's even said it earlier. It's time to get out of the middle of the pack. It's time to not be 9-7 anymore. It's time to go up to 10-6, 11-5, 12. It's time to win division titles consistently and things like that. Get to the AFC Championship. It is definitely time for that. Let's see. CW saying, anybody saying Mariota is trash. Look at his main targets. All he has had is Davis and Walker. Now compare him with other quarterbacks and compare their targets with what he had now. He is injury prone. True. And I definitely agree with that. Rizzo, I can see Mariota with a low touchdown count if Henry continues his tirade. Now, that's true. And Arthur Smith has come out and said, we're going to feed the beast, that Derrick Henry is going to be a huge part of this offense, and they're going to ride him. And, I mean, if they ride Derrick Henry, that's going to make things a lot easier for Marcus. That protects him. And, with Taylor Wan and they're becoming besties, I'm not going to want to be on that right side of the defensive line, having to go up against those two on the left. I wouldn't want to be on that side. So that much is a fact. Joseph saying the Nashville Predators need to win out this week and get help from other teams to win the Central, second year in a row. We'll talk about that later, but hopefully the Predators can pull it out and look forward to the playoffs. So that's just a few offseason things that I have noticed so far in the last week or so since my last show. But let's get into this draft preview, and let's talk about edge rushers, and then we'll go into pick my brain in just a bit, because I did have some pick my brain questions, definitely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about three edge rushers that definitely be available at 19 for the Tennessee Titans. And then I'm going to talk a couple of dark horses that maybe could be available in rounds 2 and 3, and a couple players maybe beyond with that. So again, make sure y'all get tuned for the draft party. If y'all see the thumbnail for the show, before you start watching it, you see that picture when you click on it. Draft night with the Sigmas, April 25th. That is Thursday night, the first round of the draft at Nashville Urban Winery. Tickets are $20 now, $30 the day of the event, and food is included. With that, food is included while supplies last. So you want to get there early when the food is hot and there's plenty of it, because once the food is gone, it's gone. Now, the bar is open, and that could be an option too when the food is out. But again, that'll be you paying them. But food is included. We may have some drink specials. Again, I will give some information on that. A live Titans in Truth will be happening during the draft as well. So I will be broadcasting live as we are watching the draft. There's going to be a big projector screen. There's going to be 3 or 4 TVs going with the draft. So there's a covered outdoor patio out there, plenty of parking. I want y'all to come out and join me. So spread the word. Y'all have seen it on my Facebook page. There is a draft. There is an event page. So when it's on my page or on the TNT Enforcers page, it'll you click on it, takes you right to the Facebook event page. You can buy your tickets on that event page, or you could go to Eventbrite, search Draft Night with the Sigmas. It'll take you to that event, and you can buy your tickets on there too, and everything. So I want y'all to come out and join us. Join for a good time. There's only we got 300 tickets that are being sold. And then, of course, people come in and out and things like that. So you can come on in the day of the event and things like that. But it'll be $30 the day of the event. So definitely definitely come on out for that, because that's going to be a lot of fun. I definitely hope everybody comes out. I'm looking forward to it. With my frat brothers, we're gonna do it big. So definitely go ahead and get your tickets while they're hot, and they are hot. They're selling like hotcakes, so you better get in where you fit in. As a DJ back in Memphis would say, you want to be the one talking about it. You don't want to be the one hearing about it. So get your tickets. So let's go ahead and get into this draft preview, talking edge rushers. We're definitely talking edge rushers, and the first edge rusher I want to talk about is a guy that, could be there for us at 19. Has been slated to go maybe in the middle of the first round, and that is Brian Burns out of Florida State, 6'5", 249. Now, I know a lot of people tend to look at just the highlight films to get a gauge on players. I don't like doing that. I mean, I will sometimes, but a lot of times I like to look at actual game footage when they're going up against a team. That's when you can really see what type of player that person is. And you got to watch a couple of games. You can't just go off of one, because anytime that could have been just one bad game. So I go off of multiple games. And so with Brian Burns, I looked at him against Wake Forest, I looked at him against Miami, and I looked at him against Boston College. And I'm trying to think that I look at him against North Carolina State. And I think I looked at him against North Carolina State as well. One thing I noticed about Brian Burns, y'all excuse me for looking down. Brian Burns has some very good bursts off the edge. Definitely has a couple of pass rush moves and things like that. Very flexible. He definitely put on some weight, because he was around 235, 238 at the end of the year, came up to 249 at the time of the combine. So he definitely put on some weight to help stand out a bit. But some things that I'm worried about, he doesn't have a lot of power, and really doesn't use the bull rush. He's more of a finesse guy. He likes to use his pass rush moves, not necessarily outpower a tackle to get to the quarterback. And and can tend to get lost in the run game sometimes. He has, here and there makes a couple plays on the run, but he could sometimes get lost. But I definitely like his burst off the edge. Again, now I might be wrong in evaluating some of these guys, but this is just my opinion and my opinion alone. Hey, if I'm wrong about some of these guys, feel free to bash me. I don't mind that. Hey, I don't mind criticism. That's what we're here for. And that's what makes this show great, is that I get good interaction with you, whether you tell me you like what I talk about or you hate what I'm talking about. But Brian Burns, I just don't see game changer when I look at him. I see a pretty good player. Reminds me a lot of a smaller Harold Landry. Because like Harold Landry, he has that bend. He has some pass rush moves, a good spin move, but not very powerful at the point of attack. So again, he kind of disappears in games sometimes. So that's why I just don't see the word game changer when it comes to Brian Burns. The next guy on the list, and CW already brought it up, and CW right. Landry is solid against the run. I agree. I'm just saying Brian Burns has that same bend technique as Harold Landry. So correct me if I'm wrong on that. But CW brought up the guy I was going to talk about next, Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat. And one thing about Montez Sweat that I like, I saw some games with him against Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl, against Alabama, and against Auburn. He definitely has power. He has some power. That speed is not a joke. The 4.4 140 he ran at the combine, it's legit. I've watched him on film. Very powerful, very fast, off the edge. Always seems to get some deep penetration. Seems to always have a knack for being around the football and around the quarterback. And definitely also helps out very good against the run as well. Now, the only problem I have with Montez Sweat that I wonder about, he has primarily been doing a lot of his rushing the passer with his hand in the dirt, like a typical 4-3 defensive end. The question is, can he rush the passer standing up? Can he be scheme versatile? Now, I know a lot of the times with us, Dean Pease does line up four down linemen a lot also, which goes into that front multiplicity that Vrabel always talks about. But the question I have is, a lot of his film I have seen, his hand was in the dirt. He wasn't standing up much as far as coming off of the edge. So that's the only question that I have when it comes to Montez Sweat. Can he do it standing up? And there are going to be times he may have to drop into coverage every now and then. Can he do that? So that's something that is the question that I always have. Let's see. Marcus Murray goes to say, I heard the Titans talk to Ed Oliver about moving to outside linebacker if they drafted him. We'll get more into defensive linemen next week with guys like Ed Oliver. I did hear about that they did talk to him about going to outside linebacker to combine. I think that might have been something where they just tested him to see what he would say to that. Ed Oliver is a 3-4 defensive end. He's not a nose tackle. He's a guy that can play defensive end next to Jarrell Casey with that. So let's see, CW said, I like Sweat, but wonder if the health problem is going to move him down the Titans board. It could. I don't think it does much at all. Let's see. CW said, Landry been is nasty, the best I've ever seen. He just has to get a counter power moves. I agree. Definitely. Let's see. Dale McElroy says the stream same time every week. I'm subscribed and let's see. Always end up being late. Hey, I would probably say with the times, and I apologize, the times are not all the same. It's going to be on Wednesdays. It'll be every Wednesday night. I would say I usually try to start about 8:15, but I try not to start no later than about 9:15 at the latest. Usually about between 8:15 and 9:15, that is when I usually start doing the show. And Dale, trust me, if you're late getting to the show, don't worry. You can always go back and watch it because the episodes are always going to be available. So you won't miss anything. So if you're late to the show, you just go back and watch it. You can, once it's loaded up, you can go back and watch it. So I guarantee you, it is going to be there for you. What's up, K True, on that? And CW is helping you out there. So CW is helping you out there. I appreciate that. But yeah, definitely like Montez Sweat a lot. I really like Sweat a lot. And if he's there at 19, John Robinson tells the guy, run that ticket up to Broadway. Run that ticket from the Schminderhorn all the way to the stage. First name Montez, last name Sweat. Put that in there. Definitely. And next will be Cleveland Farrell. Not Farrell. Farrell is what he prefers. 6'4", 264 out of Clemson. Checked him out a couple of games against Notre Dame. And I also watched a little bit of the game against Texas A&M. And saw some against Alabama as well. One thing about Cleveland Farrell, very powerful, but I think he's better as a typical 4-3 defensive end. He does hold up against the run and can rush the pass pretty well. Now, the only thing I worry about, and I was watching against Texas A&M, I believe, and this is something that what scares me is that he could very well be Kevin Dodd 2.0. That scares me to death because Cleveland Farrell, you know, he's shown he could drop back into coverage and can play standing up, but he's rarely done it. Like, he pretty much is a typical 4-3 defensive end, and I've heard a lot of analysts say he is a 4-3 defensive end. I don't know if he fits in our system. I honestly don't know. With Cleveland Farrell, I don't know if he fits because, like I said, I think it's the fact that Kevin Dodd busted so bad. That's why I think John Robinson may be leery of defensive ends or pass rushers, outside pass rushers from Clemson because of that. So I don't know if he could play the 3-4. Let's see. CW said, I've heard rumors, solid rumors about the Bucks looking to move Gerald McCoy. I've heard some of those too. I don't know if they're going to straight up release him or try to trade him. Hopefully the Titans maybe get in on that because Gerald McCoy is a very good player. Definitely a good player. CW says, I think after the Dodd dub by J-Rob, he's going to make sure the players he drafts love football. And, you know, I think, you know, something with that, I think Cleveland Farrell does love football, but I'm pretty sure John Robinson is going to probably be hesitant. That much I agree. Now, here's a couple of dark horses. That I'm looking at. One, and those are guys, Sweat, Farrell, and Burns are guys that I think could definitely be there at 19 in the first round. And could be a Titan going forward. Sweat, I love. Burns, I think, has potential and definitely has a lot of upside. And, you know, definitely will be glad that we have Cameron Wake here, and we have quite a few defense pass rushers. And in that way, Brian Burns isn't got to be thrusted into the starting role right away. He could definitely be rotational. Montez Sweat, I'm ready to start day one if he could play in the 3-4. Cleveland Farrell, I think it's coming along. Like Brian Burns, I think could be behind Wake. And then once Wake is gone after that first year, then they step in and they're ready to go. So I definitely like that. But one of my dark horses that I have, and before I read that, Dale says, I 100% agree. We need one of these defensive studs in the first round. I hope we can find a starting quality guard in the second or third rounds, or Pamphile can win the job possibly. Agreed. Pamphile is definitely going to be competing for that right guard position. He may win it. He definitely may win it. So I'm not going to leave that out as a possibility. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. So that's how I feel. But one of my dark horses is Jalen Ferguson out of Louisiana Tech. Comes in at 6'5", 271 from the combine. Got to watch him. I got to watch him against UTEP, and I got to watch him a little bit against LSU. And let me tell you something. This guy could be a steal in round 2. He has a very, very high motor, just does not give up on a play. He's very quick off the edge. He has a powerful, powerful bull rush. I mean, and I know he's going up against smaller competition, but this guy's pushed some people around and pushed some guys back into the quarterback. Definitely. He definitely can adapt to the run. So, he's definitely comparable in helping to stop the run as well. Now, the questions I have is, a lot of times he went up against smaller schools. How does he fare against bigger and better competition like an LSU? And I will say he held his own pretty much against LSU with that. So, Jalen Ferguson could very well be this year's Darius Leonard. He could be a guy that comes out of nowhere and shines. Absolutely shines. I definitely am liking Jalen Ferguson. And last but not least, a guy that I looked at a little film on, and I was actually looking at some film right now, is LJ Collier from Texas Tech, because he's a guy that that the Titans have they talked to at the combine, and they also did a private workout with him. He's a guy that Titans fans, Titans brass are definitely interested in. They are definitely looking at LJ Collier big time. And like I'm pulling up the list. Like Collier was an official top 30 visit. He also had a private visit and a workout. He's also gained interest at the pro day. So LJ Collier is definitely on their radar, very much so. And so he comes in at 6'2", 283. And when I first saw him, I'm thinking maybe this guy could play 3-4 defensive end. He's 280 pounds. Kevin Dodd was like that at like 287. And was a little slow in coverage. But one thing about LJ Collier, he does have a high motor. He just does not give up on a play. He makes things very difficult for an offensive line. And, one thing he does, he sets the edge very well. And, he's a very stout looking defensive pass rusher. But a problem that I do have is that he can be a tad late coming off the snap of the ball. And if you come off late, that gives the offensive line a chance to get to you. That gives an offensive line, a chance to gives a offensive lineman a chance to get himself set and everything. And like I said, I just saw a sack here, and they're playing against Texas Tech. One thing that he did, straight up bull rush, and the quarterback was dead meat. I definitely like that. But one thing he does do well is set the edge. He sets the edge very well, and that's something that I do like. But again, he's got to do better coming off the ball. And he may have to shed down about 10 pounds if he's going to play edge rusher. Definitely. Oh, and I forgot to go back about Montez Sweat. One thing that I didn't like about him is that he can be a bit indecisive, especially in the read option or in the play action. He's got to know who the best athlete is. If the best athlete is a running back, you better focus on the pitch man. If the best athlete is a quarterback, you go after that quarterback. So that's something that Montez Sweat definitely has to work on. But back to LJ Collier, is that a lot of times he does get double teamed a lot. So, it's He has a lot of work to do, but I think he has a lot of upside and potential to be very special. Against in this particular defense, and he could be a very, very good player for any NFL team. Very, very nasty for what I've noticed. And like I said earlier, this guy has a motor. He does not stop fighting, whether it's against one lineman or two. So I definitely like LJ Collier a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to read some comments. CW said, now who I really love and would be perfect for the Titans, but outside Titans reach is Josh Allen. Unless he falls a little to, let's say, around 8, who GM has been saying he's looking to trade back. Now, Josh Allen is perfect, but I didn't talk about him because he won't be there. He won't be available. That's why I really didn't that's why I didn't really talk much about Josh Allen, is because I don't think he'll be there. So that's what I'm saying on that. CW said, I really like Ferguson too. Another player is Zach Allen. Boston College motor's always cranked up. Let's see. Excuse me. I like this one kid, Marcus Mariota said, I like this one kid from Michigan. Can't think of his name. If you're thinking about Rashawn Gary, not very high on him. Not a lot of production. If you're thinking about Chase Winovich, and I'm just looking at another sack of LJ Collier, once again, bull rush, pushes the tackle right back into the quarterback. He's definitely powerful with a bull rush. And then, of course, here comes with a spin move, forcing the quarterback out. So, wow. But I am definitely a fan of Jalen Ferguson. I definitely like that a lot with that. Tillery, I'll talk about him next week. And actually, Marcus Mariota, you spelled him correctly. That is Chase Winovich. That is correct. He has a high motor. He looks like a guy that's he's relentless. He looked like a guy that's just going to flat out come get you. And I definitely like that a lot. Let's see. CW said Tillery at Notre Dame. Probably going to be gone around 19. No, he won't. He'll be there in the second round. He's not a first round grade. Absolutely not. But that's what I got on pass rush so far. Yes, Zach Allen is a guy. I think he could either be an edge rusher or he could play 3-4 defensive end. He's at about 285 pounds. He's a guy that I'll probably talk about more next week. Definitely. So stay tuned for that with Zach Brown. Other guys I looked at, other guys I would think about, maybe Georgia's DeAndre Walker. Georgia's DeAndre Walker is another one. Like we said, the aforementioned Chase Winovich. Let's see. And I'm looking at one more guy that I'm thinking about. There he is. O'Shane Zymenis of Old Dominion. Could be a very underrated pass rusher. Could definitely be a very underrated pass rusher in this league. He's definitely, he definitely looks like he has a pretty nice motor. He could be a dark horse in the second or third round out of Old Dominion. I'm looking at him against East Carolina. He made a nice play in the run game, and I'm just looking at him a little bit more in the passing game. So forgive me, I'm not an expert as far as watching film with that, but I'm definitely trying to get a good sense of players and things like that. Find out what they're good at, find out what they're not good at. That's the things I'm working on. So I'm getting better in due time. Let's see. Like I said, CW's bringing it. I'll give that to him. But those are definitely some guys that I definitely like. Also, Chris Ominahue from Texas is another guy that could be somebody that I could take a look at. Max Crosby out of Eastern Michigan. Let's see, Ben Banigou could be another one as well. So those are a couple of dark horses that I could look at that could possibly be picked by the Titans in later rounds of this draft. So that's really what I have to say as far as a preview on edge rushers. Again, next week, we will go into defensive line and offensive line. We're going to take it to the trenches on that. So now let's go to pick my brain. Pick my brain. Pick my brain. And I apologize, this show is going a little long, but definitely have to get some stuff in and catch up on some things going on, but try to get through this as quickly as possible. CW saying, could you see us trading with the Lions since they're looking to trade back? No, I don't really see that happening, because to go from 19 to 8, we're going to have to give up a lot. We're definitely going to have to give up a lot in order to go up to 8. And one thing about John Robinson, he doesn't want to give up draft capital. He wants to gain some draft capital. He's not trying to just give it up or anything like that. So I just think that there's a good crop of pass rushers in this draft. So even if we don't go edge rusher in the first round, there are some pass rushers to be had in rounds 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited about this draft and about this first round. Absolutely. But let's see. I'm gonna look at some more questions. All right, y'all, excuse me for that. Just looking at a few questions. Let's see, CW saying, now, if the Titans get a deep playoff run with mostly a running game and a healthy year for Mariota and an injury-free year, I would lock him up, because here's another thing about Marcus. Let's see. He is clutch when some other quarterbacks fall apart. And definitely he's tough. I will never question his toughness. That much is a fact. I will not question his toughness at all. And O'Shane, he definitely could play standing up. I see that right now. A lot of his moves is when he's standing up. But like a lot of pass rushers, it seems that they have problems with running quarterbacks. They don't know if he's keeping it or if he's giving it to the running back. You've got to figure that out. Sometimes you got to know who your athlete is, or you've got to read it. You've definitely got to read that particular play. So you got to know if it's going to be I would have to understand, that, I done lost my train of thought. I'm lost my train of thought looking at O'Shane, but he could be a nice looking player, definitely. But this is do or die for Marcus Mariota. It's do or die for him. I mean, he's got to bring it this year. Absolutely. Let's see. Let's see. Joseph saying, I hope Kofi Kingston wins the title at WrestleMania 35. Hey, I hope so too. He deserves it. Let's see. Christopher Woodsred comes in, says, what do you think about Titans picking A.J. Brown at 19? I don't think the Titans draft a receiver in the first round again. I really don't. I don't see a receiver going until the second round for the Titans. Second round, I can see fair game. But first round, no receiver for the Tennessee Titans in the first round. Unless they don't have any other choice, I'm not going. I don't know. I can't go with a receiver in the first round. CW says I don't want the Titans pick a wide receiver in the first round. They pick a guard or D line, defensive end or outside linebacker. And I agree. I think the first pick should either be a pass rusher or a defensive lineman. The only offensive player I would look at is Garrett Bradbury. He is the only offensive player at 19 that I would look at right now going for in the draft. Plain and simple. So that's what I think about that. Let's see. Had some questions on Facebook. I'm going to try to get to those. So let me see. I'm just gonna because I know a couple people have some questions for me. Let's see. Here we go. Butchie says, Butchie Praise on Facebook says, J-Rob and Vrabel have met with several running backs. Is it crazy to think they might be looking to trade Henry since he had increased value because of his play at the end of the year? Remember, they tried to trade him last year, but couldn't find any interest. No. No. There's no way to trade Derrick Henry. They're going to ride him. They're not going to trade Derrick Henry. It's not going to happen. And if they look at a running back, they're looking at a running back for the back end of the roster, maybe somebody to help on special teams or to help in the return game or something like that. So that's basically what I think about that. Derrick Henry's going to be a big focal point of this offense, and I don't think they're going to give him up for anything like that. They will have to get a ridiculous offer to give up Derrick Henry. Now, I have seen them looking at some running backs, but they're probably not going to draft a running back until like the 5th or 6th round, in my opinion. Let's see. I've seen a lot of tight ends being mocked us at 19. I'll get to that later. Who could you see being released after the draft in OTAs? Maybe Ben Jones could be a casualty. Excuse me for that. Ben Jones sounds like the only one. Maybe Daquan Jones could be another that could be released. I think that might be about it. I will probably say as far as who could be released by the drafts. And, like I said, tight end I'll get to later. But, yeah, Ben Jones or Daquan Jones. I can see one of them being cut. Absolutely. Number 3, who could you see? Let me see, not that. Should we stay away from Clemson players? No, I'm not going to say we should stay away from Clemson players, but we need to make sure we vet these particular players like a Cleveland Farrell or Christian Wilkins or Dexter Lawrence. We need to vet these guys and make sure that they, love football and that they're going to bring it 100%. But Wilkins or I wouldn't stay away from Clemson players. I like Christian Wilkins. I like Dexter Lawrence. I think both of them could do good in the 3-4, whether it is at nose tackle or 3-4 defensive end, without a doubt. So, CW, absolutely right. I am a bit tired, so y'all forgive me. I know this might be a bit unprofessional. I apologize about that For those of y'all that may not know, hey, I deal with sleep apnea. That's probably something that could be, in tune to that. So I apologize for that. We're going to keep this thing going. And, prove to y'all I'm still in the ball game. Refresh. I'm going to be all right. So we're going to definitely pick it up. And Christopher saying Sue is trash, not worth the money he's asking for. I don't know. Sue's price might be coming down a bit. Might be still a little bit too rich for our blood, but maybe he gives us another try. We might be able to get him a little bit cheaper. So that's something that I wouldn't mind seeing with that. So let's see. K-True said we can't cut Daquan Jones. We'll lose $1.3 million of our remaining cap. That's a risk I'll be willing to take. I mean, look at what we did with Josh Klein. We're already, under the cap for $3.5 million in dead money, cutting him, but they thought it was necessary. So, I mean, nobody, is opposed to being cut. So, Dale, I like your picks. DE, outside linebacker, guard, and nose tackle in the first 3 rounds. I'd be cool with that. I definitely would be cool with that. We could be a wild card for Sue because I looked at a video and this guy was basically looking at a bunch of teams that could go after Sue, and ta-da, who was the last team standing? Titans and Rams. He's already not going back to the Rams, so Titans could have a shot at him. Definitely. Let's see. And he also asked me, Russell Wilson have a contract problem. Would you trade Marcus for him? That's a good question. I mean, Russell Wilson is definitely more established. He's a better version of Marcus Mariota. But if he's looking for a new contract, we're already dealing with a contract with Marcus Mariota. Russell Wilson's going to deserve more than that. Why? Because Russell Wilson has one thing Marcus Mariota does not have: a Super Bowl ring. So he's definitely going to cost a lot. So I probably couldn't do it. It'd be too rich for my blood, in my honest opinion. Deebo Samuel in the 2nd or 3rd round, Marcus Mariota. I have heard that the Titans have met with him, maybe at his pro day or anything like that. I have more information on that when we talk about the receivers. But Deebo Samuel could definitely help in the return game. Let's see. I think I had some other questions. Give me just a moment. And like I said, I apologize, y'all. I was looking sleepy and all that. Yeah, brother worked today, so I'm kind of tired, but we're definitely going to work. Oh, Joseph did ask me, he said, why are there so many coaches on the coaching staff? Not just in football, but in hockey and in other sports. What is the head coach's job? Well, the head coach is like the CEO. He has to oversee everything. He has to oversee offense, defense, special teams. But then you have your offensive coordinators for that. You have your defensive coordinator, special team. You have your position coaches who coach each position with that. Now, where I agree with you with is if you have an offensive line coach, you don't need an assistant offensive line coach. You don't need that. You don't need an assistant secondary coach. You don't need that at all. So that I agree with. You don't need no assistant strength and conditioning coach. I understand the strength and conditioning coach is the guy that tries to help whip these guys into shape, make sure that they're lifting in the weight room or making sure that their stamina is up to get through 4 quarters of football. So I do understand that. At first, I didn't think there was a need for a quality control coach until I found out what a quality control coach actually does. And that's, from Arthur Smith being an offensive coordinator now. He started off as a quality control coach. And what they do is that they are responsible for helping to gather film, like if you're offensive control quality control, your job is to get tapes of the other team's defense so that you can get with the offensive coordinator and the other position coaches, so you learn how to attack that defense. You know how you can, teach the offensive lineman, hey, against this particular edge rusher, you could do this to neutralize them, or you could do this to open up lanes for Derrick Henry. Same thing on the defensive side, defensive quality control. They get tapes and film and analyze an offense. Like say, hey, you could go up against this lineman, get to the quarterback this way. Their tendencies, plays that they run, maybe certain plays that they run more than once, things like that. So that's what quality control coaches are very, very important. They got to get the film and analyze and help put together, help start to put together game plans for an opponent that the team is playing. So that's something that is extremely, extremely important with that. So CW says Seahawks would not make that trade. You have to add high draft picks, and I agree with that. They're not going to give up Russell Wilson for just nothing. They're going to want something in return, something that honestly we don't have. We don't have that particular draft capital, in my honest opinion. Let's see. He says a whole bunch, Joseph saying a whole bunch of coaches make his brain hurt. I don't think it makes my brain hurt necessarily, but I do agree, maybe too many generals, not enough soldiers. You need a lot of guys that's just going to do their job. So I'm trying to see if I have any other questions. And if you said something on Facebook and I didn't get to you, I apologize. I will answer off the air with that. So, yeah. So that's it for Pick My Brain. Let's get to what I like to call the shut your pie hole moment. And I mentioned one already with the guy that was talking about the pass interference calls. But shut your pie hole. This is basically, this is going to be on every last Wednesday of the month. So on the last Wednesday of the month when I record, that's going to be a segment that I like to call Shut Your Pie Hole. So tell me about something that irritates you that you've seen in the world of sports that just gets on your nerves. Or it could be something life-wise that gets on your nerves or anything like that. And so, that's something that we say, hey, you know what? Shut your pie hole. So let's get into that. First of all, let's go into this whole cherry tree debacle. I want to tell anybody that is no disrespect intended to anybody I'm about to say, but to people who are, against these trees, saying that, don't cut the trees down, we got to preserve them and don't let the NFL run you or make you do this or anything. To all of y'all that are making a big deal out of these trees, these cherry trees. Now, and you know what? Let me rephrase. I'm not necessarily saying this to anybody that feels the trees should be preserved. I'm saying it to anybody who is making a big deal out of this and that has turned it into a huge issue where, the council has to talk about it and, they got to come up with a plan saying, hey, you know what? Y'all just going to have to put the stage somewhere else because these trees can't be moved. Shut your pie hole, okay? Let me ask you something. What would you rather have? The cherry trees, those 10, 12 extra trees up? Or would you rather earn $150 million or more with the NFL draft coming here over 3 days? I think I'll take the draft. Over some trees. Move them 10 to 12 trees, put that stage up, and let's enjoy the NFL draft. They've already came out and said that, you know what, after it's over, they will replant some new cherry trees in that same area. You know, because the life expectancy of cherry trees is about 15 to 20 years. They're going to move the trees elsewhere in the city. So they're not just tearing them down, they're going to move them. And then once it's over, they will replant some trees for you. So I'm just saying, to the Metro Council or anybody that's just making a big deal out of these trees, saying they need to be moved, shut your pie hole and just get ready to enjoy the NFL draft. You don't work too hard to we didn't work too hard to get the draft. And that'll work a month out, everybody want to say something. You know, the Metro Council probably already agree with the NFL that, hey, we're going to have the draft. You know, something needs to be done. We'll accommodate and things like that. So don't come back on the back end when we're 4 weeks away and say all of a sudden this is a problem. This wasn't a problem before. So, you know what? Shut your pie hole on these cherry trees and let's just have the NFL draft. Because think about this. The SEC tournament made over $25 million in 5 days. And you had well close to 75,000. You had like 50,000 to 75,000 fans here over those days for the SEC tournament. The NFL draft is expecting almost 6 times that amount of people. They are expecting not 50,000, not even 100,000. They are expecting 300,000 or more to show up. 300,000. You're going to make well over $150 million, if not more, in the draft. So shut up about them trees. Joseph comes and says, Jared Stillman needs to shut his pie hole. Oh, man. I know a lot of y'all on here rag on Jared Stillman for 102.5, but hey, I disagree with Jared sometimes too, but I give respect to Jared. I would enjoy doing a show with him. We will probably go back and forth at times, but hey, we will put on an entertaining show. So that's my first one. My second shut your pie hole moment goes to the Houston Texans, to J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, and any Houston Texan fans or anybody that thinks that the Titans should give up the Oiler rights, the Houston Oiler jerseys and things like that and give them to the Texans. Let me tell y'all something. The Oiler name, yes, the team was originated in Houston, but the Oiler name belongs to the Tennessee Titans franchise because that came with us to Tennessee. There was a year in Memphis, they were known as the Tennessee Oilers. They could have easily kept the Oiler name, but they decided to change it to the Tennessee Titans. And to this day, they still honor Titan and Oiler players. Now, yes, there's nobody on this team who played for the Oilers before. But you've had, coaches. You had guys like Mike Munchak. You had guys like Bruce Matthews, Eddie George, Steve McNair, Chris Sanders. All those guys at one time wore Houston Oiler uniforms and then wore Tennessee Titan uniforms. The Houston Oiler name is just as much a part of us as it is for when they were in Houston. So the fact of the matter is, you're seeing DeAndre Hopkins Photoshop a picture of him in Oiler gear and J.J. Watt in the press conference wearing an Earl Campbell jersey. Shut up, okay? Shut your pie hole. The Oiler name belongs to us. Amy Adams Strunk has already come out with a hard no, and there's been a petition put out that we should see the Titans put on the throwbacks. I would like to see it every now and then, but there is a rule that you can only wear one Titan. You can only wear one helmet color right now. But if they change that, I would love to see the Titans. I would love to see the Titans wear those throwbacks. Definitely. So let's see. CW says, if I was Watt, I would worry more about making his GM stop getting Watson killed behind a line that looks like it's on skates or slipping on banana peels. I definitely do agree with that. And yeah, I hear it. Houston Texans fans are very, very salty about that, and I don't really care. So shut your pie hole to the Houston Texans and to the Houston Texan fan base who wants that name. Now, last but not least, and this goes to Butchie's point and also Marcus Mariota's point. Shut your pie hole to all the draft analysts that are mocking tight ends to us. Stop this. The Titans are not drafting a tight end in the first round. I am willing to bet money on that. I am willing to bet some money on that. The Tennessee Titans will not draft a tight end in the first round. Delaney Walker, yes, he's going to be 35 years old coming off of an injury. But the guy still has plenty of tread left on the tires. You got Jonnu Smith. You got Anthony Ferguson, Michael Pruitt, who that tight end unit actually did pretty good, by the way, despite the injuries under who else? Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. The Titans are not drafting a tight end in the first round. They may draft a tight end later in the draft, and there are some good tight ends that could be had later, like a Jay Sternberger from Texas A&M, or I think I forgot his first name, Smith of San Diego State. I know I had some names. Let me see. Yeah, tight ends. I don't think Irv Smith's getting drafted in the first round. He could, maybe in the second round. Caden Smith out of Stanford. Trevon Wesco from West Virginia. Josh Oliver is the guy I was talking about from San Jose State. Those are guys that could be had later in the draft. So, no. Shut your pie hole to all the draft analysts want a tight end. They're not drafting a tight end in the first round. I can guarantee it. That is not going to happen. Let's see. Redskins and Rams have different helmets. You know what? That is an excellent point. I have to take a look at that with the Rams and Redskins, and I'll have that back before the next show. So, Lil Woodell, leave me a comment, remind me of that, and I'll definitely address that. I'm gonna take a look at that. Let's see. Can't you say if Watt and D-Hop want to wear them so bad, ask for a trade to us, and we get some money out of that. Let's see. If they sure don it, if they don't, it sure the hell will not be Fant. Let's see. I think he's saying if they do draft tight end, it won't be Fant because he can't draft, and these morons keep mocking them there. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying on that, CW, but yeah, I don't know. Fant's good. He's a good pass catcher tight end. Maybe not as great of a run blocker, but could be decent. Hockenson, I keep hearing, is an all-around tight end. And obviously, I'm hearing the Hockenson love is real. But no, they're not drafting a tight end. Joseph saying the city of Nashville will make a lot of money this month due to the NFL draft, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Steve McNair was my childhood hero. I will miss him so much to this very day. And I agree. I miss Steve McNair too. He was a heck of a football player. Absolutely. Definitely. So they're not taking a tight end in the first round. So sorry, y'all, about TJ Hockenson or Noah Fant. Ain't gonna happen. That much is a fact. Only way that might happen is if they trade back and people that they wanted way before them is gone. That's the only way I see it. Other than that, they're not drafting a tight end, y'all. So don't even think about that. But those are my shut your pie hole moments on that. I'm going to get ready to get up out of here. I got to get ready for work tomorrow. Again, I apologize if I looked sleepy earlier. Forgive me for that. Blame my condition. I will not be that unprofessional anymore, and I'm going to bring you more good footage. Remember, go get your tickets for the draft night with the Sigmas. Go to Eventbrite and order your tickets. $20 now, $30 at the door. Come on down and kick it with us at the Nashville Urban Winery, April 25th. I may do some giveaways with that. And I'm going to tell you now, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. Something special. To the 100th ticket that is sold for that event, I will personally pay for your ticket. I will give you back if you're the 100th person that purchases a ticket, I will give you back your money for that ticket and for that one ticket, and I will pay for your ticket myself. So the 100th person, the 100 ticket that's sold, whoever buys that 100th ticket will have their ticket for free. That's what I'm gonna do. Me myself, I will pay for your ticket. So if you buy it, I take care of that for you. So that's what I'm gonna do. Get y'all tickets out. Remember I'm a man of my word with that. I will honor that. Okay. So y'all, thank y'all for attending. Thank y'all for watching Titans of Truth. And yes, if J-Rob does anything, he's gonna trade down. He ain't trading up. I mean, if there's an offer that he likes or he doesn't give up much. So he's going to trade down most likely or stay put at 19. But y'all, that's all the time I have for y'all tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in to Titans of Truth. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at Titans_N_Truth. Follow the TNT Enforcers page on Facebook, or you can come to me, Chris A. Newell. Check out my page at the TNT Enforcers page. The link to the tickets will be there. You can get your tickets on the Facebook page or also on Eventbrite at Titans_N_Truth on Instagram and also on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. Go check them out. Stuff will be there for that. And I'm going to try to update the website probably after the draft. So I apologize about that. I'm going to keep up with that. So good night, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for sticking with me for this hour and 24 minutes. I apologize for the longness. Thank y'all. Good night. Tighten up and get ready for this draft party. Let's go.